Sports Talk Radio, and I wanted to talk some baseball. I like baseball. I'm not the guy not watching baseball, but our lead does come from the big leagues. The old guard is not happy. The latest person to speak up is Gary Sheffield. He is fed up with the sport that made him a gazillionaire. I don't know if you heard this, maybe not. Gary Sheffield recently revealing that he doesn't even watch baseball anymore because he's, quote, disappointed in how the game has evolved. Sheffield saying that the only time he watched baseball was when he was, quote, forced to do so because he had a TV job at TBS. But even then, and this is the big revelation, Sheffield admitted that while he was a baseball analyst, a studio analyst, he never watched the games during the season. He says he would get educated on it when he got to the TV studio, but he didn't actually watch the games. Now, Sheffield, a prodigious steroid-era slugger, and I was around him when he played for the Dodgers. He argued that the game has changed. It's become more hitter-friendly, he said. And then he went on a rant, did the old guy get off my lawn rant. He said, these guys can go out there and they can strike out 180, 190 times, and it's okay. And then all of a sudden, they show a home run, and now a home run is less appealing when a home run was a big deal and was more appealing when I played because it wasn't happening as often as it is now, close quote. Now, Sheffield is standing in line with other notable Major League Baseball players who have recently tuned out the sport. About 10 days ago or so, David Wells, Boomer Wells, longtime pitcher, blasting baseball's decision to get political of removing the All-Star game out of Atlanta to Denver in protest of the election reform bill in Georgia. Wells saying at that time he has stopped watching games as well. So let us discuss the question, how concerned should Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, the guardian of the game, how concerned should he be that these former stars of not that long ago, we're not talking about 1970s and 80s guys. These guys played in the 2000s. So how concerned should Rob Manfred be that these former stars are divorcing themselves from baseball? So on the patented MALLER scale of concern, 1 to 10, with 10 being your house is on fire, this is a 7. I'm at a 7. I can't go much higher than that. I'm at a solid 7. Now, my observation, you've got the pimple, M&Ms, and Winnie the Pooh. We'll lock all of these things together in a calculated MALLER monologue. Now, number one. So Gary Sheffield and David Wells are baseball lifers, and just to prove that point, why you should take what they say more seriously than others, resumes provide credibility. These guys each toiled in the big leagues with multiple teams over 20-plus seasons. My instincts tell me that Gary Sheffield and David Wells, while it is a 7, it should be a 7, they will be ignored, right? Baseball, they'll put the blinders up, they'll put the lampshade over their head, and they will trivialize these guys as just bitter ex-players, right? These guys can't play anymore, so who cares? And it's that trope. And it is true that a lot of the old players complain about the players that follow them. It's been true my entire life. But in this case, there's something to it. Sheffield and Wells, I don't think it's out of sorts what they said. They approached it differently, but the end result is, hey, I ain't watching. But they will be treated like a pimple on your nose. All right, you get a pimple on your nose, you're not going to call Dr. Pimple Popper. Baseball's not going to do that. You're going to use a few drops of lemon juice to make the pimple go away. And both of them made great points. So Sheffield pointing out the sport has been, my words, not his, degraded by the focus. It's a swing and miss beer league softball thing. Keep in mind, though, that started while Sheffield was still playing. This is not a new phenomenon. That began near the end of Sheffield's career. And David Wells upset with the fact that baseball has touched the third rail, my man, by getting political. And there was a study done last week that indicated the fallout on that is legitimate, that baseball didn't gain any fans by moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta. They lost fans, but they didn't gain any Democratic fans. They lost a bunch of Republican fans. And I guess they got some woke points. I guess. I don't know what that... Is that like Bitcoin woke points? Where can you spend woke points? I don't know. Anyway, the second thing here, Rob Manfred, who I like this story. And the reason I wanted to talk about this with you is because he's the villain. And I like any story that paints Rob Manfred with that brush as a villain. David Wells, in fact, singled the commissioner out by name in his recent rant. Wells is saying that he had a lot of dealings with Rob Manfred back in his playing days, and he, quote, never liked the guy. Well, you don't say. And David Wells is a member. He's not a charter member, but he is a member of the fastest growing club in sports, MM&M's. Not M&M, MM&M's. Now, what is MM&M's? You know what it is? That's Manfred Moron Movement, right? The movement that points out that Rob Manfred's a moron. The guy's a tool bag, right? In fact, it's actually an insult to tool bags to call him a tool bag. Anyway, Manfred is, as we pointed out for years here behind these microphones, is your typical pencil-pushing, empty suit, spineless commissioner, corporate overlord, and Manfred's, he's a Harvard-educated labor lawyer who got hired at baseball and worked his way up. As he started out as a labor lawyer, got hired at baseball, and just never left. And it's the Peter principle, where you reach your highest level of incompetence and you stay there. Right now, it would be commissioner. He was the lead investigator for baseball. And have you ever heard anyone, serious question, have you ever heard anyone come out to champion for Rob Manfred? Of course, that's not a serious question. It's a rhetorical question. The answer is no. Manfred is the prime minister of the baseball underworld, is what he is, even though he's on the face of it. Now, final point. This began with a rant about Gary Sheffield and his complaints about the way baseball is being played. And Rob Manfred is using minor league baseball as a testing ground. It's like Frankenstein's laboratory to try to adjust and tweak the game. There is no great sense of urgency, though. And that's the thing, right? I mean, some of the changes are absurd. Every time I watch an extra inning game where the runner, the ghost runner, starts out at second base, I'm like, holy crap, how dumb is this? And it's been around since last year, and every time I see it, I think, oh, my God, this is embarrassing. This is humiliating. Rob Manfred is using I learned this when I was a kid. It's the Winnie the Pooh model of leadership, right? He's acting like a river. Now, if you remember Winnie the Pooh, or maybe you're still watching Winnie the Pooh, there was a great quote there that rivers know this. There is no hurry, right? You've heard this quote. There is no hurry. We shall get there someday. That's baseball's mantra. It's like, yeah, there's problems. We'll eventually fix it. We'll put a blue ribbon panel together, this, that, and the other thing. Good luck. Good luck. It is highly unlikely that the people that have been watching baseball, the same decision makers, are going to make a different decision to fix the game because they're the ones that were involved in the game when it went this direction. As Albert Einstein said, no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. And this problem began under Rob Manfred's watch. And he's still now he's got more power than when this happened. All right. Now, meanwhile, Gary Sheffield, rather nonchalantly revealing the intrinsic truth here, and it's stunning. The Sheffield thing that really stood out to me. We have another former player who admitted he didn't watch the game, and he was a broadcaster. You're never supposed to say this publicly. You talk about breaking the fourth wall, that imaginary wall that separates the sportscaster from the audience. And, this is the age-old battle. They have athletes bring credibility. There's a lot of low-information fans that if an athlete said it, they've got more credibility, and they flock to these broadcasts. And often what happens, and Sheffield pretty much admitted it, he implied that he would get to the TV studio and essentially be a parrot. Whatever the producer told him to say, he would get on camera and repeat it. That's what it sounded like to me. And somewhere in a graveyard in New York, Howard Cosell is rolling over, the old school sportscaster, in his grave about the jockocracy of it all. So good luck. Good luck on Sheffield getting TV work again. I'm pretty sure he doesn't need the money because he was well compensated from the Marlins, Dodgers, Yankees, and all the other teams that he played for, bouncing around